Please click on that.
Mary had a little man. The fault. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon.
I have a dream.
Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Help is on the way.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
It's Friday, you bastards.
Are you feeling down, uncomfortable?
I'm sure Matt Gaetz is not feeling very comfortable today.
Did you trust your BFF to pimp teens for you, only for him to strike a deal and flip on you? Are you feeling extra pressure at work? Then has Matt Gaetz got the app for you? Seeking Arraignments is the new meetup where soon-to-be indicted congressmen can meet underage girls looking for lucrative relationships with old lying men who won't be around for long because they're going to jail. So, if you used an unhinged con man as a wingman, showed nude pics of your teenage gal pals to your co-workers, failed to get a pardon from your cult leader, tried to drag white nationalist talk show hosts into your web of lies.
You and I went to dinner about 2 years ago. Your wife was there, and I brought a friend of mine. You'll remember her.
Only to have it backfire.
I don't remember the woman you're speaking of or the context at all, honestly.
Badly.
That was one of the weirdest interviews I've ever conducted.
Then log on to Seeking Arraignments to find teenage women who will show you the empathy you need because you pay them to. However, and we cannot stress this enough, if you pay your new teen gal pals using Venmo, remember to change your settings to private, because only inbred idiots pay their teen sugar babies on Venmo and leave their feeds public. Moron. So, if you are an inveterate reprobate in need of escape from the self-inflicted scandals you brought on your own damn self, take it from Matt Pizza Gaetz. Seeking Arraignments, the perfect getaway before you're sent away.
He's at the gates of hell. Gaetz is, yes. So he's going to go down in a pedophilic blaze of glory. That is where Matt Gaetz stands today, right at the gates of hell. I mean, Rudy was raided by the FBI this week. You know, this was a fun week. Yes, we have more important things to do, but everybody's stopping. Enjoy. Enjoy. This is the most enjoyable thing since the Nixon resignation, don't you think? I mean, just enjoy. You know, hopefully this is just a warm-up act for, you know, Donald Trump. Hopefully this is just getting us in the mood to frog march a past president. You know what I'm saying? This is really good. Enjoy. So what is this story about? All right. So Joel Greenberg, who we played for you so you could get to know him. Joel Greenberg was the former tax collector. Swear to God, this is like the entry way into Florida politics, okay? So he became a local elected official. Tax collector is what he did in Seminole County. Okay, that's up north. And Joel apparently got himself into 33 different criminal situations and was charged with 33 criminal counts and understood that he was in trouble and decided that if he flipped on his best buddy, on his wingman, on his, you know, friend, sex friend, I mean, what do you, friend with benefits? I don't even know what the word is. Okay, that if he flipped on Matt Gaetz, who was a congressman, a U.S. congressman, that would be his, and he actually said, golden ticket. Now, it could refer to something, you know, that I don't even understand. But anyway, okay, so Joel Greenberg reached out to Roger Stone. Roger Stone, who apparently needed a commutation of his sentence. Remember, Roger Stone was convicted in about 7 seconds by a jury. He actually went to trial by a jury, and he was guilty of 7 felonies. So now Roger Stone is literally selling pardons for a living. And so this is information that, you know, Matt Gaetz's wingman, Joel Greenberg, the tax collector from Seminole County, who has been indicted for 33 felonies, 33 33, actually reaches out to Roger Stone, hearing that Roger Stone is selling pardons. Can you believe this? I mean, these are the most, that's what I'm saying, enjoy this. Enjoy. Roger Stone says to Joel, listen, this is what I need you to do. I need you to write a confession in glorious detail. And Joel Greenberg actually starts to write down all the crimes that him and Matt Gaetz were involved in together. And at one point, he's written so many pages. I think he's written 11 or 12 pages worth of crap. And some of it was handwritten. Then he did 2 drafts that were typewritten. Okay, swear to God. And he actually reaches out to Roger Stone and he says to Roger Stone, should I shorten it? Should I make it shorter? And Roger Stone says, oh, no, spare no detail. Spare no detail. Put it all in writing. Put it all down in writing. Because you understand Roger Stone is going to blackmail people, okay? And Joel is so stupid that he actually does this. He writes this freaking confession. And he fingers, Matt Gaetz as part of this plot to get a pardon from Donald Trump through Roger Stone. And what he says in the confession is that he has firsthand knowledge of Matt Gaetz having sex with an underage girl because he also had sex with this underage girl, and that he was pimping girls to Matt Gaetz, making the payments for Matt Gaetz on Venmo. There were and produced the evidence, okay, of the Venmo transactions, and also a Cash App also. And so there were about 40 different girls that they were paying to have sex with, and apparently one of them was only 17 years old, and both of these men had sex with her. And Joel Greenberg puts this in writing, gives it to Roger Stone, and says to Roger Stone that he'll give him $250,000. First, he offers $250,000 in Bitcoin. Oh, my God. And then Roger Stone responds to him later on January 13th and says, I think today is the day. Get ready to transfer $250,000 to me. And Joel Greenberg says, and I'll give you an extra $50,000 if you can get the pardon today. Today, January 13th, because Trump is leaving on January 20th. And I mean, this is just a study in lunacy and in law breaking and in criminal people all around Donald Trump. I mean, there's a 10-page article in the Daily Beast about this confession letter. And it's really disgusting, okay? It's really, really detailed. And the Daily Beast has seen the confession, plural letters. They've seen the handwritten one, had it authenticated by a handwriting expert. They've seen the 2 typewritten versions. They've seen the text messages between Roger Stone and Joel Greenberg, because while they were using Signal, and Roger Stone thought that these messages were going to disappear, after a little while they just evaporate. Apparently Joel Greenberg was no idiot about how to blackmail somebody or get your money's worth when you're paying someone to do criminal things for you, like purchasing pardons from Roger Stone. So he took screenshots of the Signal text messages, and Roger Stone thinks the text messages don't exist anymore, and so he is literally giving, information to the FBI, saying, "I don't know what you're talking about. I never, had anything to do with this. I didn't." These are the people that were in charge of our government. Okay, this is Donald Trump and Donald Trump's friends. This is Donald Trump and Donald Trump's GOP. Okay, we have a grand old pedophile party, and it's just, where is QAnon now? Sex with a minor over here, and then over there we have Donald Trump inspecting girls at the Miss Teen USA pageant. Roger Stone is out there. God only knows what he does, but selling pardons. What kind of a country? What?
all things Randi at RandiRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
So they're saying there is a 17-year-old girl who you had a relationship with. Is that true? And who are they? Who is this girl? What are they talking about, the New York Times?
The person doesn't exist. I have not had a relationship with a 17-year-old. That is totally false. The allegation, as I read it in the New York Times, is that I've traveled with some 17-year-old in some relationship. That is false, and records will bear that out to be false.
Yeah, the records are not bearing that out to be false. And as a matter of fact, his best buddy, his best friend, his BFF, is dropping a dime on him as his golden ticket out of jail. I mean, this is the kind of crap our legislators are doing. This is what the GOP is involved in. This is Matt Gaetz. This is Donald Trump's crowd. This is Rudy Giuliani. This is Tucker Carlson, who hosts these people and, sits there and says, well, we were supposed to get a delivery today of, it was going to be Hunter Biden's laptop. And you remember that whole thing with Tucker Carlson? My producer was supposed to get a package and the post office, let us, and I don't know, I don't want to name, it wasn't the post office. It was like a private delivery. He insinuated that FedEx or UPS or somebody was hiding a package from him that contained Hunter Biden's laptop. Remember that whole thing? And it went on for days. And then finally, at the end, Tucker Carlson said, well, I do have the laptop. I have Hunter Biden's laptop, which I doubt. But he said, and we're not going to play it for you. We're not going to play it for you. I'm not going to show you what's on there. No, I'm not going to show you what's on there because you know what? Hunter Biden's my friend.
We've received an awful lot of documents recently about Hunter Biden. We haven't aired all of them. In fact, many we have not aired. The ones that are pertinent to his business career abroad, favors he did on behalf of foreign clients with the help of his father, that seems relevant. And it seems like news. And we brought it to you, and we're not ashamed of that.
What?
But there are a lot of documents about Hunter Biden's personal life that we haven't brought to you, and we're not going to. And we should tell you why. One is the obvious answer. He's not running for president. And so to the extent those documents pertain to his dad, of course. But Hunter Biden is a fallen man at this point.
What?
And I should also say that I knew Hunter Biden fairly well. We lived near each other in Washington for quite some time. I knew his wife, who was an absolutely outstanding person, a good person. I never thought Hunter Biden was a bad person. I thought he had demons, but in the time I knew him, he kept them mostly under control. At some point, he lost control of those demons, and the world knows that now. He's now humiliated and alone.
What?
It's probably too strong to say we feel sorry for Hunter Biden, but the point is, pounding on a man, jumping on, piling on, when he's already down is something that we don't want to be involved in.
So we're not going to show you anything off Hunter Biden's laptop because A, I either don't have it, or B, there's nothing on it. That's incriminating. Nothing. So, all this is going on during the election, all to try and, get people to be repulsed by the Bidens, the way that Rudy Giuliani was able to get people repulsed by the Clintons. It's the same exact playbook. And now all the chickens are coming home to roost. Every single one of them is now being looked at for, their demonic possession of, minors and writing confessions, and their friends are turning on the other friends, and, people are flipping, and people are, well, if I can, flip on Rudy's like, Michael Cohen was on TV yesterday saying, Rudy knows how much trouble he's in, and so Rudy is going to flip on Donald Trump because Rudy ain't going to jail at 76 years old for Donald Trump. They don't even like each other. Rudy only became friends with Donald Trump because Rudy needed the power of the presidency to make a living, and Donald Trump only became friends with Rudy because Rudy was willing to do free legal work, and free is the price Donald Trump's willing to pay for anything. Do you know? I mean, it's so sick what's gone on here. Meanwhile, this big lie, and this is the important part of all of this, and this is why they must pay. They all have to pay for their criminal behavior, large and small and big and little, and treason and traitorism. And, literally we know that these guys, Rudy Giuliani and Ron Johnson, who's a sitting senator and is the chairman of the Homeland Security Committee in the Senate, Homeland Security. And all these GOP people that literally glommed onto this Ukrainian, it was Ukraine that hacked the 2016 election. It was Ukraine that did it, not Russia. It was Ukraine that did. I mean, they were all debriefed. They were all warned by the intelligence under Donald Trump. Donald Trump's intelligence, his ODNI, Dan Coates, and all of those people. They all briefed. They gave defensive briefings to Ron Johnson, to Rick Scott, to all these people who were out there saying, really horrible things about Hunter Biden and Hunter Biden's computer and Ukraine is the one that did this and Russia didn't do it. They were all debriefed and they were all, given defensive briefings. And what's a defensive briefing? That means that there is information that a foreign adversary, Russia, is targeting you as a way to influence American foreign policy, American domestic policy, elections. And they were all given these briefings when Donald Trump was still the president of the United States, and it didn't matter to them. They just thought that's their ticket to re-election. That's just their ticket to Donald Trump staying in power. And they understand that if Donald Trump was out of power, they probably would be too. Now, Ron Johnson, he's running in 2022, okay? Ron Johnson came in on the Tea Party thing, the wave of, crazy Tea Party. Oh, deficits matter. And then $2 trillion later, in a redistribution of wealth to the richest Americans, everybody shut up about the Tea Party, and they suddenly became something else, okay? And so Ron Johnson is one of those from Wisconsin that came in on the Tea Party, and then when he was on up for re-election 6 years later, it was 2016, right? And Donald Trump was on the ballot, and Ron Johnson sailed into re-election. Well, it's now 6 years later, and Ron Johnson's going to be on the ballot again, and that's why he won't let go of this crazy, crazy Ukrainian bullcrap that Rudy Giuliani is about to go to jail for. Okay, because this all came from active Russian intelligence agents. Active. I mean, like Andrei Derkash. Okay, he, for the last 10 years, he's a KGB guy. He went to KGB school, Derkash did. Donald Trump's own treasury sanctioned Andrei Derkash as a foreign intelligence operative from Russia. That's Donald Trump's intelligence, Donald Trump's Treasury Department. They sanctioned him, and they sanctioned another guy that also Rudy was working with, okay? And these guys know this. But, back in the day when all this was going on and you couldn't hold anybody, it just seemed to me that they were all covering for each other. And it seemed to a lot of people that they were all covering for each other, that they would all keep everything on the QT until they needed it to get out of trouble themselves, and then they would flip on Donald Trump, the biggest fish in the net. And that's exactly where we are. That's exactly what's happening. So I'm telling you, enjoy this right now, because this is the precursor to Donald Trump going to jail for treason, going to jail for, and what's really scary? With the big lie and everything that this all caused, right? This all caused people to doubt our elections, to doubt the integrity of our election. These swing states, these GOP-run swing states, are literally changing access to the ballot based on the big lie. Florida just did it today. Florida, not only can you run over protesters now in Florida, thanks to Ron's death sentence, but he just signed a massive voter suppression law. But can I just remind you, Trump won Florida. Why would you do that?
Call in, connect. To speak to Randi, call 561-270-3844.
561-270-3844. A major and very public development in a long-running investigation into former President Trump's personal attorney Rudy Giuliani and his dealings in Ukraine. Federal investigators conducted a raid at Giuliani's home and office in New York City Wednesday and seized electronic devices.
They are a complete disgrace to the office that I distinguished. I went after conscious people. I put them in jail. And what have they done? No wonder they're jealous.
The United States Attorney's Office in Manhattan and the FBI had sought for months to secure approval from the Justice Department to request search warrants, a green light that didn't come until Donald Trump and Attorney General Bill Barr were out of the picture. For what it's worth, Giuliani's client thinks this is unacceptable.
It's like so unfair and such a it's like a double standard like I don't think anybody's ever seen before. It's very, very unfair.
He says that all the time. It's like no one's ever seen anything like this before. It's like I think your previous attorney has seen something exactly like this before. I think your previous attorney, Michael Cohen's house, was also raided. I think he also got sentenced to like 36 months in prison, and now is under house arrest. What is wrong with people? Why do they keep falling for this con man's con? It's just an amazing. It's just. But now I just want to tell you this: the only reason why they went to Rudy Giuliani's house and took Rudy Giuliani's electronics is to corroborate what they already have. It's to corroborate what they already know. That's it. They've been investigating Rudy Giuliani since Bill Barr was the Attorney General of the United States of America. Okay? Now, Bill Barr was blocking subpoenas into the raids on, Rudy Giuliani's house because Bill Barr was saying, oh, well, it's 60 days ahead of an election. But they have been investigating Rudy Giuliani for a couple of years now, since the first impeachment. It's ridiculous. Everybody knows it, okay? Here's Preet
He's not been charged. He may not be charged, but to take a step against any lawyer generally in this regard with a search warrant of devices and premises is a big deal, requires those approvals that Evan described. And to do it when that person was the lawyer to the former president of the United States is a very significant step. And so, he's fallen pretty far in terms of how far along this investigation is.
Yeah.
I think, again, there's no way to conclude for certain whether or not there will be charges. But in a case like this, given the circumstances, given the status of Rudy Giuliani, how long the investigation has gone on, how aggressively it seems that the SDNY folks have been seeking to get the warrants, tried and failed before the election, tried and succeeded again now.
Right.
I think there's a very high likelihood that they believe there are charges to be brought, and they may be pretty far along. Sometimes it's the case that you have a lot of evidence. It's not true that they're going to be getting some of the correspondence and electronic communications of Rudy Giuliani only because they've seized these devices now. You get those kinds of communications from third-party sources, AT&T,
right.
Whoever. You get the devices because you want more evidence and you want confirmatory evidence and you want to see if there was destruction of evidence, which may have happened since Giuliani has known about this. But it's very, very significant. It's a very aggressive step. I know the folks at the SDNY. I hired a lot of them, and they would only do something like this that's so significant if they believed very strongly, based on the facts and the law, that there's something worthwhile pursuing here.
Right. They already know what's on Rudy Giuliani's devices because they've already gotten warrants for third parties to turn over evidence that is relevant to what they're investigating. And those third parties would be Verizon or AT&T or, the cloud, right? Any cloud services that Rudy Giuliani has, right? All they're looking for is to see whether or not Rudy destroyed any evidence. All they're looking for is to get corroboration. This is why they went and took Victoria Tensing's electronic devices too. They told Victoria Tensing she's not a target of their investigation, but they did have a subpoena for her phone, for her electronic devices. I don't know if it was a laptop, a hard drive also, or just a phone, but they're just looking to corroborate what they already know and have, or to see if anybody has destroyed any evidence in this particular matter. That is what is going on here. Now, Rudy knows this because Rudy was in charge of SDNY. He was. But he decided to go down the, shady road, the road where you make lots and lots of money because you do bad things for bad people, right? You become the attorney for people who can't just, get an attorney. You become, a lobbyist for people who, can't even find a lobbyist dirty enough for them, right? You become the fixer for the President of the United States when the President of the United States needs a fixer because he's a criminal. That's how Rudy decided to go. That's what Rudy did to make money. When you're a prosecutor, when you're in charge of SDNY, everybody sits there and goes, Rudy was mayor of New York and Rudy was, in charge of SDNY. He was a prosecutor, lead prosecutor. Why would he do that? To make money. You don't make money when you work for the government, okay? You make some money. You're not uncomfortable, but you're certainly not rich. Nobody gets rich on being, a government lawyer. You get rich by Bracewell Giuliani. You get rich by doing really ugly things for really ugly people. And everybody knows this. And Rudy's got another problem.
You're going to start to see a multitude of documents. You may even find out that Rudy was involved with Bill Barr in the remand of me the second time to prison based upon the Donald Trump communication. We have no idea how expansive that this investigation is going to ultimately reveal itself because Rudy's an idiot. And that's the problem. Rudy drinks too much. Rudy behaves in such an erratic manner that who knows what's on those telephones or what's on his computers.
Jesus H. I'm serious. And the same thing with Matt Gaetz. You know, Matt Gaetz and his friends are all disgusting people, too, doing really ugly things, including having sex with, not just prostitutes, but sex with minors, right? Sex with minors. And then they all flip on each other, and they're taking photos of Signal, text messages that are supposed to disappear, taking photos of Snapchats that are supposed to disappear, so that they have the record of what they actually, in case they ever need it, knowing that they're going down an illegal road with people who they could, turn over to prosecutors when prosecutors come after them because their friend is a bigger fish. This is so sick. And this is the kind of leadership this country has survived. I want you to be very proud of the strength of our democracy in this manner, in this way. We literally lived through 4 years of the most criminal people in charge of all the levers of power in this country. And yes, it led to these voter suppression laws, which we're going to have to fight in courts across this country ahead of 2021. It's caused these crazy laws that now say in Oklahoma and in Florida, we don't like protesters. So you can run them over. You can run them over if you want to, and you'll get full protection in the law. Yes, it's led to some really ugly stuff. It's also led to running grifts. It's led to a disinformation campaign, the likes of which, propaganda that still to this day, a third of America still believes that Donald Trump won this election and it was stolen from him. Unbelievable damage, but we've survived. We have survived that.
This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
All righty. Stephen Vermont.
Hi, Randy. It's Steve the mailman. How are you?
Oh, hey, Steve. How are you?
I'm great. I figured out why Ron DeSantis is doing this and why the Florida legislature is doing this. In the census, it showed that a lot of Northeasterners moved down to Florida, shocking. But what they're worried about is the blue ship, and that's what they're afraid of. And it's going to happen, and they know it's going to happen. So that's why they're putting these roadblocks in there now to try to prevent it.
Oh, well, it's really sick and scary because, look, we have people moving into our state. There's a transient state, Florida is. And we have people moving in here like by the tens of thousands every single day. So there's nothing new about that. Absolutely nothing new about it, okay? But the Florida election system is safe and it works. And, it was bad in 2000. It was bad 21 years ago. And we had this terrible, way of voting on these, punch card ballots and all that.
Yeah, the Chad.
Yes, the hanging Chads. And so, all through the last 20 years, we've improved and we have made our... Ron DeSantis was literally bragging about how secure Florida was. Why? Because Donald Trump won Florida, okay? And he was holding it out as a model of election integrity and that what a long way we've come since Bush v. Gore and every other thing. Now, all of a sudden, he's like, oh, so we're doing this audit of our, vote, and we find out that... Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
I'm here.
Oh, you're killing my ears, man. God, that hurts.
I'm sorry.
I have headphones on. And he actually figures out that Democrats, for the very first time, decided in the pandemic to vote by mail. they also decided to use drop boxes to drop off their ballots. Remember, I didn't know what to do. I said I'm an in-person voter. I always vote in person. Oh, I gotta let you go. You're just killing my ears with the phone. But so what did I choose to do? Right. So I got my ballot by mail, and then I filled it out, and I decided to go to the polling place and use the drop box at the polling place. So that was my hybrid. Okay, instead of standing in line during the pandemic, because right. And so what did they do in Florida? They decided, okay, no more drop boxes outside. We're now going to have an election person, somebody, stand by the drop box. We're not going to, every year if you voted in the election cycle, in 2 election cycles, if you voted by mail in any of the previous 2, which I never had. I never voted by mail. They send you automatically a mail-in ballot. I don't know why I got one. I guess it was the pandemic. I don't know. But I never voted by mail before. But they sent me a mail-in ballot, and that's why I was kind of creeped out by the whole thing. And so I didn't know what exactly to do. So now they've just decided no more mail-in ballots because Democrats have decided to use the mail-in in the pandemic. That's what happened in Georgia. That's what's happening in Florida. That's what's happening in Arizona. That's what they're doing. They realized that the Republican legislatures, they devised a way because they thought it would spark, people to participate in elections when they lived in rural areas where there wasn't so much access to supervisors of elections office. You had to drive a really long way to get to a school or whatever. And so they said everybody can mail it in, right? Just mail it in. We'll mail it to you. You don't have to solicit it. We'll mail it to you. And, you fill it out and you mail it back. People loved it. People loved it during the pandemic. And for the very first time, Democrats used it. I'm a perfect example of Democrats not wanting to use it because it was designed by a Republican legislature. It was designed by Republicans in Georgia. It was designed by Republicans in Florida. It was designed by Republicans everywhere there. Utah, they all vote by mail, right? And so I was hesitant to use it, except now we're in a pandemic. And this is why they're changing the law. This is why. Not because New Yorkers are moving to Florida. New Yorkers move to Florida every single day and have since I moved here and before I moved here. Midwesterners, they move to Florida, but they typically move to the west coast of Florida. New Yorkers, they move to Florida, but they typically move to the east coast of Florida. I don't know why. I guess we follow our parents. Wherever our parents went, that's where we go, because that's what happened with me. I came down here because my mom came down here and my mom got sick. So that's kind of the migration that a lot of people, do. But that's why they're changing it. They're changing it because for the very first time, Democrats decided to use vote by mail. And we never did before. Most of us like voting in person. It's kind of, I like the little sticker. But the lines have gotten so freaking long. And we were in the middle of a pandemic. People didn't want to wait 8 and 10 hours. Listen, in Georgia, you saw what those lines were like in Georgia for people that did in-person voting, right? 11 hours they stood in line. Down here, I've stood in line 4 hours, 5 hours. I remember when I was voting for Barack Obama, I voted in person, obviously, twice. And I stood the first time, I think I stood for 8 hours. Or no, not that long. I don't think I ever stood more than 4 hours. I stood in line for 4 hours one time, and then the second time I had problems where they said that I didn't return the stinking postcard, and that because I didn't return a stinking postcard, they purged me off the voter rolls. Oh, that was the primary. That was the Democratic primary when I went to vote for Bernie, right? That's what, and so I had to go to the supervisors. I mean, believe me, Florida does not make it easy. They changed the rules, but this is all about Democrats using the mail. That's what happened. And so now they're saying, okay, you're not going to get a mail-in ballot automatically anymore. You're going to have to apply this is something Floridians won't know. Every single election cycle, you're going to have to ask for now a mail-in ballot if that's the way you want to vote. That's number one. Number two, no more drop boxes that are just, 24/7. No more. And that's what Georgia did too. Why? Because people use them. They used them. This is all to rig elections that, to favor the party that's making the law, to favor the party that's in power now, to favor, and obviously, Trump won Florida. There is no need to, and Florida has secure elections. Even when Donald Trump was telling people not to vote by mail, do you remember what he was saying about Florida? Does everybody remember what he was saying about Florida? He was saying Florida was okay. You could vote by mail in Florida because he voted by mail in Florida. Remember that? And Ron Death Sentence votes by mail in Florida. And they all know it's totally secure. So even when Donald Trump was trashing vote by mail, he was telling people in Florida, go ahead and vote by mail. It's safe. Florida's good. It's secure. Ron Death Sentence is in charge of it. It's great. Go ahead. We have pioneered the use of mail voting here in Florida. Republicans have, and we know it's secure. We know which is why I was creeped out by it. It's exactly why I was creeped out by it, because he was touting it and saying Florida's great, vote by mail in Florida, which is why I didn't want to vote by mail in Florida. So they did mail me a ballot, but I refused to put it back in the mailbox. So I went to a drop box at the polling place after I filled out my ballot at home, and I dropped it off in a drop box at my precinct, at my voting place. And that was the first time I did not vote in person. That was the first time in my whole life that I didn't wait online, go inside, fill out the ballot on the snack tray. That's how we vote in Florida, on snack trays. And then feed it into the machine. That was the first time I ever did it that way. And now they don't want us doing it again. Don't do it that way. Too many of you liked it. Joe on Long Island.
Hi, Rand. Thanks for taking my call. I just wanted to say I had a friend of mine that is not a Biden supporter, and I had asked him, why don't you mail the stimulus check back? And he said, well, they won't take it back. So I did some research. Yes, you could, what you do is you write void on an endorsement section of the check in the back, and then you mail it to your closest IRS office, and you list below, don't staple it, don't bend it, don't paperclip it.
Don't spindle.
And include a brief explanation why you're sending it back.
And they'll take it back.
And they'll take it back. So, Trump supporters out there that really don't want to take the check, you can do this. Okay? And that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah.
And thanks for the show. I love you.
Thank you. Love you more. Yeah. If you don't like Biden so much that you don't want, any benefit from any of his policies, apparently you can return your stimulus check. But you have to give a reason. It's no question, but don't fold, staple, spindle. Spindle. You know what spindle is? It's when you put it on the spindle. Make a hole in it. Don't spindle. And do not mutilate. Just say, void, don't want it.
Mary had a little man. The fault. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon.
I have a dream.
Change has come to America.
Believe me. Help is on the way.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
Losing a set of elections and immediately going to the rules as the thing to deal with, as opposed to like your message, your platform, whatever you're going to do.
Well, that's been the playbook all across the country. It hasn't been to reach out to more voters. It's been how to have fewer voters participate in the process. And it's always about changing the rules only when they don't work for them. So in Georgia, Republicans wrote all of the voting laws, and they were perfectly fine with them until Democrats started using them in large numbers. And it's interesting, in Florida, they're trying to make it harder to vote by mail. They're trying to get rid of drop boxes. Well, they're only doing that when Democrats outnumbered Republicans in mail voters for the first time. So they trumpet, they talk about trying to get people to vote by mail. And then the second that Democrats start doing it, they say, no, we have to get rid of these things. That's just really telling that instead of trying to appeal to more voters, they're just trying to have fewer voters participate. And I think that's basically their central organizing principle
everywhere when it comes to how they view democracy.
Freedom. Yeah, they talk this great game about freedom and about your voice and, First Amendment and, they don't give a rat's ass about any of that, okay? They care about power and they care about how to cheat or shave, voters out of the process, suppress them, remove them, put obstacles in their way, make it harder, make it inaccessible, count the bubbles in a bar of soap, count the jelly bean. This is what Republicans do, but the really sick thing is, okay, you could understand them licking their wounds and being really peeved about the results in Georgia, because not only did they lose the red southern state of Georgia, Biden won. Not only did Donald Trump lose the southern red state of Georgia, but they also lost 2 Senate races subsequently in two special election, two runoff elections, right? So you could understand why they would be looking to keep people out of the process, the freedom of the vote in Georgia. Not that it's right that they should be doing that, but you could sort of kind of understand the Republican mindset. Now we need to suppress the vote. But Florida, my God, man, they won freaking Florida. No, it's preemptive. Don't you get it? It's preemptive. Everything here, everything that they are doing now, and Arizona too. I have to tell you, this fake recount, this fake audit. It's not a recount. It's an audit. All these months after the election in Arizona. Oh my God, you've got these psychos from this Florida company that is. They are part of the Sidney Powell, Lynn Wood crowd. The Kraken crowd, the people that are being sued for billions of dollars for defaming Dominion. Yeah, these are the people that they hired to come into Arizona all these many months after the election, 5 months after the election, 6 months after the election, to do this fake audit. And these people are making crap up as they go along. All of a sudden today we find out that the Florida company called Cyber Ninja that has zero experience in elections, zero experience in election audits, zero experience or transparency in what they're doing. Now there's concern that they are destroying ballots in Arizona, that ballots are going missing, that they're just to screw around with people's heads and make people believe that the win in Arizona was not really a win. I don't. But people are telling us that this is going to happen all over the country now, all over the country. And that what they're doing is they're using, oh my God, they never stop. They're like one-trick ponies. They're using UV lights. UV lights in Arizona. They're shining them on the ballots. And when somebody asked them, why are you using UV lights? What are you looking for? They said watermarks. Watermarks. And then the Secretary of State of Arizona, who you're familiar with her now, right? You understand she's formidable. She said there are no watermarks on ballots. Well, we're using the UV lights to look for something. What? Yeah, it's unbelievable. So you have some local activists that managed to get in and managed to work with Cyber Ninja for a couple of days. And they're telling the local media, like News 12 in Phoenix, that the process is as much of a cluster as you think it is. One of the girls went in there. Her last name is Shackett. She went to a Veterans Memorial Coliseum. She was there for 2 days. She said, both days I was there, I left horrified. She said her takeaway from as a volunteer reflect the larger issues raised in an ongoing lawsuit. Quote, the audit has not publicly disclosed its policies and procedures and maybe doing some corner cutting. She said, when I got there the first day, I was literally told, talk to the observers and they'll answer your questions. So she and the other volunteers went over to the people wearing the orange T-shirts and asked them about their training, and they said, oh, we don't have any training on how the audit process is supposed to work. And then they said, you're not allowed to talk to us. And then she said she was told to talk to the green shirts, right? Everybody's wearing different colored shirts to look official. You know, it's like you will listen to anybody holding the clipboard kind of a thing. Okay. So then she said the observers weren't allowed to talk to any of the green shirt wearing ballot counters. So she just stood there and listened to the green shirted ballot counters. And she said she heard them say several times, speed is more important than accuracy. I mean, this is very, very weird. But here's a local news report.
When the 2 p.m. audit team began its work, there were additional sets of eyes watching, an elections machines expert and 2 elections auditing professionals. They are representing the Arizona Secretary of State's office.
I feel comfortable that we have experts in the room who know what to look for in terms of any type of election audit.
Until Thursday, Secretary of State Katie Hobbs was denied access to monitor the audit. A judge ordered her office be allowed. Yay. Senate President Karen Fann, who is orchestrating the recount, and Hobbs worked out the arrangement before noon deadline.
Cyber ninjas and their subcontractors are not auditing firms. They are not election experts. And they absolutely are making this up as they go along.
Cyber Ninjas revealed the policies and procedures it is using to conduct the audit. The company tried to have its methods kept under seal, claiming proprietary privilege. Critics argued the company was trying to cover up a lack of experience.
As far as responding to some of the specific concerns that have been identified on the record, I mean, this document does serve to try to articulate an answer to those.
Secretary of State Hobbs says her office is reviewing Cyber Ninja's methods. For now, she's just glad people who know about conducting audits are finally watching the process.
Do you see how they're all wearing different colored T-shirts to try and make it look like they have specific jobs, but they're all doing the same thing? They're all sitting at a table, and they put a ballot on a clipboard type thing and then spin it around like a lazy Susan, and then everybody at the table writes down what they think they saw marked on that ballot, and that's how they're doing the audit. I mean, this is just sick and twisted is what it is. But finally, the Secretary of State of Arizona, Katie Hobbs, she literally went to the Department of Justice and said, we don't know what they're doing, and we've had some volunteers go in there, and they have said that they have seen people destroying ballots, they have seen people stealing ballots, they have seen ballots irretrievably damaged. We need somebody from the Department of Justice to go in there, and the court finally said, okay, you can have observers in there. And they picked people with election experience. They picked people from, the Secretary of State's office to go and watch the people who were in there playing with your ballots. So you have this bogus company playing with real ballots. Fake company, real ballots. What could go wrong?
All things Randi at RandiRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
All right, so I got to tell you that the President of the United States is talking about this Arizona audit constantly, according to people at Mar-a-Lago. And they like the idea of using these UV lights to scrutinize Maricopa County's ballots, which is, the largest county in Arizona. They said that he talks about it constantly. This is according to one person who recently visited Mar-a-Lago and listened to Trump discuss the recount for about 45 minutes. And people are nervous because the UV lights could damage the ballots. There are no watermarks on the ballots for them to see. But I have to show you what goes on in the alternate universe, okay? So if you're willing to leave your bubble for just a brief, not even a minute, I will show you something, okay? This is what goes on One America News Network, which also, by the way, they were given a defensive briefing by Donald Trump's intelligence, by the ODNI, the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. Back in the day, they were told that they were being targeted by Russia, swear to God, as a outlet that would promote disinformation, misinformation, right? And OAN doesn't give a damn, but they were given a defensive briefing. Anyway, that is the channel I'm about to show you, and this is really sick. But this is the My Pillow dude, okay? He's bat crap. Everybody needs to understand just how gone he is. I don't know if he's still sober, I don't know if he's still clean. I have no idea. I don't know what his status is as a ex-meth head is, but he's lacking a few brain cells. I don't know why. But he's on OAN, and he literally is talking about how God has sent these this Cyber Ninja company to Arizona because he believes it's going to lead to Donald Trump being reinstated, I don't know, as president.
To me, it was a divine appointment. Very, God's got his hand in all this, and we're going to look back. I really think it's like a turning point. When we look back and get to this great place we're going to be in, way out here, all these things had to happen just the way they've been going down. We talked about before coming on Arizona.
Right.
The things going, the timing is perfect.
Yeah, and there are a whole bunch of people that are hanging on every word that is said on this propaganda network and think that Mike Lindell is onto something and that QAnon is in a completely punctured, wounded, dead, defunct effort that was promoted as something real by somebody who owned a website that never made any money, and they thought maybe we could do this conspiracy crap and make some money off of it. I mean, it's just so bizarre. It's so bizarre how there are so many people in this country that really want to believe the worst about this country. They really, really want to believe the worst people should be in charge of this country because the worst people are better than the people that governed before them. I swear to God, I can't for the life of me figure out why anybody would want to believe in QAnon or Mike Lindell or any of these things, knowing what we now know, knowing that there were traitors, knowing that there were people who were literally selling national security secrets to adversaries of ours in exchange for fixing and rigging elections. I mean, it's such a freaking spy novel that we've been living through, and there are people that want it to continue. There are people that really want the worst people to have all the power in this country, thinking it will turn out well for them. I can't explain why else people are actually on the side of people like Mike Lindell. I can't understand why people are on the side of Rudy Giuliani or on the side of Matt Gaetz or on the side of Roger Stone. These are criminals. These are all demonstrably criminal people who are Roger Stone's been convicted of 7 felonies and Donald Trump, commuted his sentence, pardoned him. But he was convicted by a jury of his own peers, 7 felonies. So you can say that now. It's very strange. Rob in Arizona.
Yeah, the hope for these people reminds of that Dumb and Dumber scene where he's asking the girl what the odds are of him getting together with her, and she says not good. He's like, well, what are the odds? 1 in 100? She goes, no, 1 in a million. He goes, so there's still a chance.
Right.
Yeah, so that's what these guys are doing. Anyways, I called the office of the county supervisor who sued to get transparency for the election counting going on here. And basically told them, hey, if one vote goes missing or gets altered or damaged or anything goes wrong with those votes that are in their possession, there should be a federal investigation to that. Because, hey, if you go and vote illegally, impersonate a voter, and that's a federal crime. That's a felony. So the same should hold for those votes that were legally cast. So
well, let's not even wait until you get that far. The idea that these people from Cyber Ninjas, a Florida company, failed to ensure the security of the ballots in the first place. They haven't kept the doors locked, okay? That we don't even know who these people they hired to come and handle and touch and feel and finger your ballots are. You know what I mean? So they have failed miserably at protecting the ballots and allowing unauthorized people to access the ballots. Right there, this whole thing should be called off. It's bizarre. It's just the strangest thing ever. But, thank God the Department of Justice actually said, okay, we need... What are you doing to your phone? Is it your phone or my phone?
It might be my phone. I'm walking. Sorry. Go ahead.
Because it happened on the same line before, and it really hurts you. It hurts my ears. But anyway,
Okay, sorry.
no, I'm just saying, so the idea that they are failing to lock the doors, they are failing to screen people to come in and touch the ballots. The security of the ballots is it doesn't exist anymore. So right there it should end. But at least now we have the Department of Justice that they've just sent observers, federal election moderators to Arizona to see what the hell the cyber ninja shenanigans is all about. Like, what are they doing?
Yeah, and that's great to hear because I did not know that. I know we had our local people in there. I'm glad the feds are in it.
Yeah, the feds are now in it. But honestly, you did have local people. That's what alerted Katie Hobbs, your Secretary of State. She reached out to the Brennan Center for Justice, and they reached out to the Department of Justice. I mean, that's how we had to because these people, no one knows who they are. No one knows who they are.
And this is after 2 or 3, I think, audits that we've already had on this. They already had.
Yes. Look, Georgia was counted 3 times, and the result was the exact same result all 3 times. Arizona, too. You got to remember, the only people that called Arizona for Joe Biden was Fox News, okay? Fox News and AP called Joe Biden on election night, called Arizona on election night. No one else did. Everyone else waited for the audit. Everyone else waited for the close scrutiny, okay? No one else wanted to call that race.
Right, and as you recall from the clip of Ducey's sitting with Trump saying, hey, our elections are the most secure in the nation. We've been doing this for a long time.
Right.
And so they already, bought off on it. But, here we go.
And now the news is expect this to happen everywhere. Expect it to happen in every swing state. I'm like, wait, what? We're going to have private people calling our election? How freaking commie are we going to get?
Call in, connect. To speak to Randi, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
All to rig an election. All to keep power.
The agents seemed somewhat apologetic, I might say. They were very, very professional and very gentlemanly. The only time they got perturbed is at the end of the surge, when they had taken about, I'd say, 7 or 8 electronic items of mine, which is what they took, and 2 of someone else's. They weren't taking the 3 hard drives, which of course are electronic devices. They just mimic the computer. I said, well, don't you want these? And they said, what are they? I said, those are Hunter Biden's hard drives. Oh. And they said, no. I said, are you sure you don't want them? I mean, the warrant required them to take it. And they said, no. And one last time I said, don't you think you should take it to and they said no. Now, Hunter Biden's hard drives fall within the scope of the subpoena. The subpoena required them to take all electronics, but they decided to leave that behind. And they also were completely content to rely on my word that these were Hunter Biden's hard drives. I mean, they could have been Donald Trump's. They could have been Vladimir Putin's. They could have been anybody's. But they relied on me, the man who had to be raided in the morning, because I'm going to destroy the evidence. I've known about this for 2 years, Tucker. I could have destroyed the evidence years ago. I didn't destroy the evidence because the evidence is exculpatory.
He's a very twisted man, okay? And you know what's really sick? The reason why I played that for you, and the reason why I played an earlier clip of Tucker Carlson saying that he had Hunter Biden's hard drive and that he wasn't going to play you anything from Hunter Biden's laptop because Hunter Biden was so low in his life and he had been friends with Hunter and they don't want to kick a man when he's down. After he lied about, UPS or FedEx, that were keeping him from getting the delivery of the material. Tucker Carlson knows Rudy Giuliani is lying about Hunter Biden's hard drives because Tucker Carlson said a year ago that he had Hunter Biden's computer and that he wasn't going to show you what was on it. I mean, the lying that goes on there is so insane. And it's so, don't they understand that people can tape record them? I don't know why they don't understand that we have video archives. I don't know why they think that we're going to be like their audience. We're going to follow a story for a day and then forget about it when they rehash it and lie about what was previously. I don't know. But this was all to rig an election, okay? This was all of this was so that Biden would lose. That's what it was all about. It was all about finding dirt on Hunter Biden. It was all about smearing Joe Biden. It was all about turning voters off, voter suppression. It was all about this. And for this, they did sell out the national security of the United States of America to Russian operatives, to Russian intelligence officers, KGB agents who were sanctioned by Trump's own government while they were working and taking money from them. And now, after the fact, Trump is trying to send in private contractors to touch and handle your ballots and create yet another doubt about the results of the election 4 or 5 months after the election. I mean, this is crazy. How communist are we going to allow it to get in this here country? The level of propaganda is off the charts. That's number one. Number two, we now have private for-profit companies that are being given dark money that, I mean, we saw this 20-year-old that's supposed to, be the guy who owns Cyber Ninja in Florida. We saw him. They asked, whether or not he was taking private money, and he said yes. And they said, well, how much and from who? And he said, I don't know. I don't know. But there's a political game here that's being played, and this guy is part of it, and he's taking money from like Lynn Wood and Sidney Powell and the Rudy Giuliani faction, and moneyed interests are now counting, touching, fingering, holding, disappearing, UV lighting our freaking ballots. How is that possible? How is that okay? Johnny in Texas.
Hello?
Yes.
Yes. Here's my two questions. I want to know how much time elapsed, how many hours or days elapsed from the time those questionable vote counters arrived and had possession of those ballots to the time the Justice Department approved observers arrived, and if the ballots, if some of a group of ballots above a dozen are considered to be tampered with, how soon can those people be arrested? Those are my two questions.
Okay, so it's going on right now. It has been going on. People are updating it every day. If you're wondering why we're updating this sucker every day, it's because it's coming to a state capital near you. That's number one. Number two, it's going on live. It's actually happening. The DOJ just approved, people to go in there from the Justice Department. DOJ just sent observers, and so there's your answer to your question, and nobody knows what's going on.
That's not the answer I'm looking for. I want to know how much time they were alone with those ballots before the official observers showed up. Do you know?
When did they start? I don't know when they started. A week ago?
This is my point. Republicans get their way all the time. I don't know why people who are in charge of things like ballots, they don't say, oh, who are you? And what do you want? Okay, make an application.
No. This was court ordered. Okay, this was they went to court. This Cyber Ninjas crowd. They went to court. They asked for a subpoena to be honored to allow them to come in, and they got the court to say, yeah, you could do it.
And they got a Republican judge. See, that's what I'm talking about.
It doesn't matter what the party of the judge is. It just matters.
It does matter because they've infected every aspect.
It doesn't.
Randy, they've infected every aspect of our government, and that's why we have little confidence in the process, to be fair.
Well, the whole idea here is to make you doubt the process. I'm telling you that we have a fair process. We do.
Well, you better hope that some people are arrested when these ballots are determined to be tampered with. Because if I was to tamper or try to vote illegally, you can damn well bet I'd be in jail right now.
Nobody is trying to vote illegally. The vote has already been cast 5-6 months ago. What they're doing...
I know, Randy. What I'm pointing out to you is that if I had tried to vote twice, let's say, I would be in jail.
But nobody is voting twice.
I understand that. What I'm telling you is that if these people who are supposedly there auditing ballots are found to have been tampering with these ballots, they should be arrested, just like any black woman who was thought to have voted twice or trying to vote illegally.
No, because okay, these are not the same things. Okay, what you're talking about is election fraud, and that does not happen in this country. Okay, and that is what this company is trying to unveil. But there is no election fraud. What they're doing is politicizing the audit, the counting of the ballots 5 months after the ballots have been certified. That's why, but that's why the court didn't stop them, because it's already been certified. They're like, go knock yourself out.
Then what's with this? We're using ultraviolet light and they can't survive.
Right, they're doing that because they have absolutely nothing to do. I mean, there's no wrongdoing here. They're just playing with your head.
This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
Oh, here's a quick explanation of how this happened.
Hobbs, how is this happening?
Well, I think you hit it on the head that a group of Republicans are continuing to try to appease their base who refuse to accept that Trump won, or that Trump lost Arizona, and that he's not the president anymore. And, a judge ordered that the subpoena was valid. And we have so many concerns about this exercise. I kind of don't want to call it an audit. I think that's an insult to professional auditors everywhere, because they're making this stuff up as they go along.
But why was the subpoena found to be valid?
I think the legal arguments were about the subpoena powers of the Senate. Mm-hmm. I think Maricopa County supervisors could have chosen to appeal that ruling, and they decided not to. So this is where we are at this point. I think there was a high level of expectation that whoever had their hands on the ballots and the equipment would adhere to some level of security measures and transparency, and that clearly has not happened.
Right, and that's how we got here, just so you know. This was the Senate, the state Senate in Arizona. The state Senate in Arizona literally went to the court and said, we are writing a subpoena. And our subpoena is calling for opening up the auditing process. I don't know what else to call it, but the the Coliseum, opening up the Coliseum basically, and letting independent auditors 5-6 months after the election come in and recount these for no official purpose. Okay, it wouldn't be recertified by the state. It wouldn't change anything. It wouldn't change anything at all. Because it won't change anything at all, the Maricopa County supervisors did not appeal the ruling that the court made when the court said, okay, the Senate is entitled to issue a subpoena. They have subpoena power. And so as a court, we're ruling that the Senate of Arizona, the state Senate, has a subpoena power. They have the right to do that. Now, Maricopa County supervisors could have appealed it, but they did not. They did not, because it won't change anything. The point of this exercise is so illustrative of what is coming, though, if we actually allow for moneyed interests, private supporters of this candidate or that candidate, to come in and handle our ballots whenever there's a close election. This is just happening as a way to make you doubt the process, or as a way to make you think that independent elections don't work. We need private industry to come and count. I mean, this is just crazy. It's backcrap crazy. And the company Cyber Ninjas, by the way, they are Trump supporters. They have always been Trump supporters. It's a tiny, tiny little company in Florida that is headed by a young, upstart who thinks that this is, a way to get money. And he's a Trump supporter who believes, that the election was stolen. This is from the Lynn Wood camp. This is from the Sidney Powell camp, okay? It's not going to change anything. It's not going to change anything. So to compare it to like real election fraud or voter fraud, no, that is not what this is. Mark in California.
Yeah, hi, Randy. I am curious to know if this can backfire on the Republicans.
Yes.
For example, if there's like a anti-abortion protest, can I, as a pro-life supporter, mow them down with my car?
Oh, you're talking about the protest law? Yes. Yes.
Protest law and that and the voter, like the caging. Like, can't I challenge the votes of Republicans in Georgia based on the law that they have now?
Yes. Yes, they've made a mess out of what was very secure and free and fair elections. They've made a complete and utter mess. And the reason that they've made a complete and utter mess is because when it's a mess, when it's chaotic, they can go to a court, and they're hoping this time the court will find for them, even though 60 times they went to court in this one, and the court said, you have no evidence of election fraud. You have no evidence of any wrongdoing. So they created an environment in which wrongdoing can occur so that they would have an issue to bring to the court next time.
Right. And won't Republican voters living in rural areas be disenfranchised as well?
Yes.
Okay. I don't see the benefit. and it's all built on a lie.
I just told you what the benefit to them is just to have an actionable issue of wrongdoing, which
chaos.
will now, chaos. In chaos, you can, in chaos, you can steal. In chaos, you can sue. In chaos, you can, declare chaos. And, they're hoping for a different result. They're hoping that our elections will not be decided by voters ever again, that they will either be decided by private companies who are going to come in on the back end or by courts that they have packed.
It's stunning. And Randy, thank you for being a voice in the darkness. It's amazing. I am addicted.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Barbara in Oregon.
Hello?
Hello.
I was just wondering, going back a little, how Giuliani and Tucker, how did they get in a hold of Hunter Biden's laptops or computers?
So the story goes that there was there's a small little independent computer shop that Hunter went to and brought his Mac to get fixed, and that he never picked it up. And the owner of the shop is the person who gave it to Rudy Giuliani.
Well, how did Hunter get, or Tucker get one?
So somebody made a copy and sent him a copy of what was on there. And Tucker was screaming and yelling that UPS and FedEx were all part of a conspiracy to keep him from receiving the shipment, okay? But that never happened. He did get it, and he then looked at it and said, there's nothing here that I want to show you because there's nothing, illegal on it. He didn't do anything. He didn't,
Okay, so it went from Giuliani first and then to Tucker.
Right.
Okay, but how did Giuliani get it? I mean,
so I just told you
it belongs to somebody else.
So I just told you that the story goes that Hunter Biden took his computer to a shop to have it repaired and never picked it up, and that the owner of the shop realized that after Hunter Biden became the subject, that he had his computer, and he decided to call Rudy and tell Rudy that he had it and that he would give it to him.
Okay. Seems like, that would be grand theft, but okay. I was just curious. Thank you.
You're welcome. Ken in California.
Yeah, on the voter fraud deal.
There is no voter
California
fraud. There's no voter fraud.
Or lack of voter fraud or whatever. California had almost 500,000 people refused for jury duty because they were not citizens, but they get their jury duty people off of the voter roll. So how would that happen?
I don't know that any of that's true, so thank you.
Well,
okay. Richard in Oklahoma City.
Hey, Randy, I had a question.
Yeah.
I spoke with your screener about it. If you live in a right to carry state and someone tries to run you over while you're protesting, can you just empty a clip into the driver's seat?
Oh, I don't know. See, that's a very good one. Stand your ground, I guess.
Oh, yeah. You should be able to get away with it.
Listen, they're not, the people who are invested in chaos in our streets have absolutely bet on that being the result.
Oh, you think so? Huh?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
They're not going to be happy until we look like Somalia. And by them, I mean Republicans. Republicans really, really want this country to look more like Somalia than Somalia does. You know, they don't want, they've been trashing our government, make it so small you could drown it in a bathtub. They've been handing out, you know, bigger, badder, you know, weapons and military gear to the police and to you and to us, right? So that we can go after each other. And in chaos, they can steal. This is really by design, and you know, the idea that you could run people over, and that, yes, now you're asking me the question, if somebody is coming at me with their car, can I take a shot at them? You know, that's chaos.
Wow.
Right. It's wow. It is wow. And why? All so that they can control the money, the power, the treasury, all the money, all the redistribution of the wealth. Who gets what? Now, this is in chaos. You can steal. This is as old as the rising sun. Okay, but you've never seen this in this country like this, and it ain't over until those people are in jail. Which is why you should enjoy that they're all in big doo-doo. Okay? They're up to here in it. Enjoy that.